Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome everyone to another Camp Battles edition of The Spread. I'm your host Jim Sella here with Jay Dash. We've done the cornerbacks, we've done the safeties, linebackers, wide receivers, running backs. We've done almost everything. Did we do quarterbacks? Does it really matter?
No, we did not do quarterbacks. We didn't do kickers.
5 seconds. Here it is. Ben Roethlisberger. End of story.
Believe it.
But today, O-line. Biggest question, Alejandro Villanueva. Are you going to give him that long-term deal that he's looking for?
It depends on what price he comes at, I guess, you know. I don't think they should overpay for him, but he is a good lineman, so I would like to see him stick around.
He's slated to make around $650,000 on his exclusive rights free agent deal just for the amount of time that he's been in the league, the fact that he was an undrafted free agent, all those weird stipulations. The top left tackles are making $10 million plus per season. So really, do you consider him one of the top left tackles in the game? Now remember, this Steelers offensive line took a giant step forward last year. A, they stayed healthy for the most part outside of a few games here or there. And B, I think it was Roethlisberger's least sacked of his career, even though he did miss a few games due to injury. But still, he was sacked under 30 times last year. I mean, they were really a good unit, and I'm pretty sure I just read this somewhere, so it's not like I went and looked it up, but I'm pretty sure Villanueva let up less than 3 sacks last year.
I believe it. I think this line's been getting better for the past 3 or 4 years each season, if you ask me.
Yeah, it was really just they couldn't stay healthy and all on the field at the same time those last couple years, and then last year they were finally able to do it.
And it helps that Ben isn't the same type of quarterback he was early in his career when he held on to the ball for 20 seconds.
Believe it. I don't know. I'm leaning towards giving Villanueva the deal. Obviously, you know, like you said, depends on what he wants. I'm not saying give him everything he's asking for. I'm not saying make him a top paid left tackle. I don't think he's the best left tackle in football. Top 15? I mean, I can't name you every team's left tackle, but I can say that he's probably better than about 15 to 17 other tackles in the game at least.
Yeah, let's say he's top 15, though. When you sign him, though, he's going to want to be paid more than that, you know what I mean? I'm thinking he'd want top 10 money, so the next time a tackle comes around, they can ask for top 10 money, you know what I mean?
Oh, believe it. They always, you have to ask for more because you never get what you ask for. So you have a number in your head, you ask for more than that and hope to come in around that number. So, yeah, I believe he's going to be asked to be paid as a top 10, tackle in this league. And that's going to be pretty pricey. You got Le'Veon Bell, most likely looks like he's going to be on the franchise tag at 12.6. And if you're going to drop $8-9 million on Villanueva, I mean, that's a lot of money. They're trying to do an extension for Stephon Tuitt. Who's more important to the team, Stephon Tuitt or Villanueva? I mean, there's so many factors that go into this. And on Villanueva's side, he's coming in as an unrestricted or an undrafted free agent, and he's trying to get any type of payday. It's not like he was a number 1 round or number 2 round pick coming out of the draft where you're still making a couple $1 million after that first deal. He's made maybe $1 million, a little over in his 3+ years of service. So he's really looking to get paid, getting that first contract, and possibly his only big contract because I believe he's 28, maybe 29. So say Pittsburgh locks him up to a friendly deal, but it's 4 or 5 years. He's on the wrong side of 30. The next time he's heading into free agency, he'll get maybe a deal if he lasts that long in the NFL. But, I mean, this really looks like to be his only shot at a big payday.
Yeah, like I said, it's kind of like, who is it this year? Derek Carr's the highest paid quarterback now?
Yes.
And I think Matt Stafford might be the highest paid quarterback sometime soon as well, right?
Please believe.
So it's kind of like that. Now that he's coming in the free agency, he may be a top 15 tackle, but he's going to be able to get top 8, top 9 money,
Now, they do have Gerald Hawkins. He's listed as a guard in a lot of depth charts that I've seen online, but he plays both positions. Mostly he actually plays tackles, so I don't know why he's listed as a guard. They believe that this guy can get the job done. I mean, this is what I've read. It's not like I have inside sources to the Steelers, but from what I hear, Hawkins is a good player. He's shown improvement. He wasn't a high round pick. He was somewhere after the 4th round, maybe in the 4th round whenever they drafted him a few years back. But he's a guy they think that they can turn into something similar to a Kelvin Beachum or an Alejandro Villanueva. So maybe the Steelers hold out, give Villanueva a 3-year deal. It's somewhere around $8 million. If you gave him even 3 years, $30 million with 15 or 20 of that guaranteed, that would be okay, because then you still get him at the prime of his career, but you're really not locking up all that money. And then if a lot of it's a signing bonus, you can move him out and move Hawkins in for a limited cap hit later on if you would have to.
Are you talking for this season, or would you sign him after this season?
I mean, you could sign him right now.
I know you can.
He has to play under this exclusive rights free agent
deal. That's what I'm saying. Like, you have him cheap right now. Would you rather sign him now or let him play out the season, then try to sign him?
I mean, if you want to look at it from a crude business sense, you don't give him anything extra this year. You take him.
I'm not asking from the Rooney's standpoint necessarily. I'm asking from your standpoint.
My standpoint, I think the guy's done enough that he deserves at least something. Throw him a little bit of a bone. Show him some appreciation for what he's done, helping keep your franchise quarterback standing up over the last 2 years. I'm not saying give him the house, but if the first year of the deal he counted for $5 million against the cap instead of that $650,000, and he gets that maybe $10 million of a signing bonus or something, I'm not upset with that, honestly. I think he's done enough to earn that.
I guess it depends on how they work out the payroll or whatever, but I mean that extra $5.4 million could go a long way into going deep into the playoffs, though,
For sure, honestly. I mean, it's a risk either way, but I don't think – I mean, you got Marcus Gilbert on the other side, who's one of the best right tackles. Hawkins isn't ready, in my opinion. You got like Chris Hubbard or something. Maybe B.J. Finney can step in and play tackle, but he's mostly guard and center, so that's not going to happen. If Villanueva goes down, that's a huge blow to the team. He knows that. They know that. That gives him a little bit of leverage. But the Steelers have most of the leverage, considering Villanueva's the exclusive rights free agent. He's literally not even allowed to sign with a different team. I mean, he basically has to sign the deal that they gave him if he wants to play this year. So that's the leverage that they hold. Or he could hold out. I don't know what happens. I don't know if he gets a vested year or not. I'm not that.
I wouldn't go as high as you would, man. I'd either stick with it the way it is, or I'd say, hey, throw him a tiny bone, like $1.2 million for this season, and then try to figure something out afterwards.
Yeah, I like him in 3 to 5 years.
I'm just not trying to spend more money than I have to,
I totally understand. I get it. I feel like we finally got the offensive line. If we could get another 2-3 years out of this core group, I think that's really good.
Well,
I think that's going to go
do you think
a long way.
They didn't give him any extra money this year, there'd be a better chance he'd leave after the season? He wouldn't be happy with him?
I think he would feel slighted if they didn't at least give him something. $650,000 to be the starting left tackle on an O-line that's,
That's what makes teams good, though. Look at the Patriots, man. Tom Brady takes those small contracts. That gives them a lot of extra money around the other, 21 starters, you know what I mean? Or even 53 players.
I totally agree. I mean, I can't disagree with anything you're saying, man. I get it. In my opinion, you got to give him something. You got to show this guy you appreciate what he's doing. He's also working out on a waiver right now. Him and I understand Le'Veon is a different situation. So when I say this, I'm not taking a knock at Le'Veon at all. But they both have the option to sign a waiver and come into minicamp and participate and do things with the team that would guarantee them, X amount of dollars if they got hurt doing that or whatever. Villanueva signed it and participated. Le'Veon Bell did not.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
That shows, Villanueva, he's committed, to doing what it takes. So he's doing all the right things. So you got to throw him a bone, at least in my. I wouldn't mind, maybe you give him a 3-year deal, tell him he gets to make 1.5 this year with a signing bonus that doesn't count against the cap. So that's how they work out these big deals that don't actually end up becoming big deals. But then in the 2 years after that, then he could make the 8 to 10 million. I'd be totally fine with that. But you got to throw him something.
See, I'd rather just give him some more money this year, maybe 1.2 to 1.5 million, and then if he plays well, you give him the contract. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but I think he's shown enough already to warrant getting the deal now.
Yeah, but football scares me, dude. Anything can happen in a year.
Oh, please believe, for sure.
Anyways, let's move on from Villanueva. What else they have on their line there?
I mean, you got your core group. You got Ramon Foster, Marquise Pouncey, David DeCastro, and Marcus Gilbert, who we mentioned a little bit ago. Foster's getting older now. He was an undrafted guy. I think he was with somebody before the Steelers, maybe. Turned himself into a hell of a left guard. I don't think he had one penalty called against him last year.
He might have played for Carolina for a minute. I don't know.
I think so. I feel like maybe even the Eagles. I don't know. I can't remember all these things. I got too much stuff going on in my life. At center, you got Marquise Pouncey, the perennial Pro Bowler. As long as this guy stays healthy, I mean, he's one of the best centers in the game. Honestly.
Yeah, you got to stay healthy, though.
David DeCastro, another great guard over there on the other side.
How long does he have left on his contract?
He's got a couple years, man. He signed I think it was a 5-year deal before last season. So he's got 4 years left, unless they just added and got rid of it. But
that's nice. I mean, 4 years with him, I'll take that.
Let me look here. On over the cap, it says we have him locked up through 2021.
I'll take that.
You got your right guard locked up alongside Marquise Pouncey for a long time. And then beside him, you got Marcus Gilbert, who was shaky at the beginning of his career. They wanted him to be a left tackle. They kept trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Didn't really work out. Moved him over to the right. He had a little hard time against speed rushers at first there, but man, the last 2 or 3 years, this guy's really come into his own. He's really started to play well. He's probably the best right tackle in the AFC, maybe in all of football, honestly. I'm going to say it right now.
Baller status. I'll tell you what, it would be nice if they had a strong line when Ben decides to retire. Let's say it's in 2 or 3 years, Ben retires. If they have that beast line together, it's going to be a lot easier for whatever quarterback comes in.
For sure, especially if you have a running game going, depending on what happens with Le'Veon Bell. The easiest way to help a young quarterback is to run the ball well and play good defense. I mean, that's just football 101 if you know what you're doing. Behind these starters, though, Dash, I don't know. I'm a little iffy if somebody goes down. You got your B.J. Finney, who everybody knows, any Steeler fan knows. He can play guard or center. Serviceable guy. He'll come in, give you a couple good games. Not saying anything bad about him. I don't want any of the Yinzers to come after us and try to axe me because I said B.J. Finney's not great, but he's a backup. Let's face it, these guys are backups.
He's a backup, but he's a solid backup, man. And
for sure.
And you can't have 10 good linemen, 10 starting linemen. So I think even with him as a backup, I mean, that makes a very strong line right there.
Well, yeah, and I was just going to say you have Chris Hubbard behind him who can kind of do the same thing, move around. So those two guys, being that they can move around, gives us a lot of versatility. They're not going to be Pro Bowlers if they have to come in and start a whole season, but they're good enough. They're guys that can come in and spell you for a game or two. We talked about Hawkins a little bit ago when we were talking about Villanueva. He could probably come in and give you a game or two. 1 or 2 of these guys can come in the jumbo package, the goal line packages, stuff like that, check in as an extra tackle. I forget who it was. I read an article, and I'm not going to say which name it is because I'm not even sure, but I read that one of the Steelers' offensive linemen has been practicing catching some footballs and moving around in a formation to try to maybe catch a team off guard and sneak out around like the Patriots do sometimes.
Right.
So we'll see if that actually happens. They talk about stuff like that a lot early in the
doubtful, dude. Once they get into game time, Haley panics, dude, and they just get by with like 4 plays.
They do the same thing over and over again, and that's why they don't score in the red zone. But other than that, I mean, you got Mike Matthews, who is Bruce Matthews' son. He's trying to make the team as a center or a guard. I've read some good things about him on Steelers.com, but they're not going to trash him on there. So, again, we don't really know what you're going to get there. You have a guy whose name's Kyle Friend. Don't really know a whole lot about him. Haven't really read a whole lot about him. So I don't really have much to say. But other than that, I mean, that's about it in a nutshell. Some of these guys are going to get cut. They usually carry, 5 offensive linemen and then 2 backups. One who could be a swing guy between guard and center, and one who can be back up both sides as far as tackle goes. So one of those backups aren't going to be there. I bet you we'll see Hubbard and Finney, just like last time.
And it sounds good to me, man. Keep Ben upright these last couple years. You have a chance.
That's it. I mean, that's all you got to do. With the offense the way it is, with Martavis Bryant back, all you got to do is keep number 7 standing up. And I'm not saying let him win the game by throwing the ball 50 times a game, but let him control the game. Let him win. Run the damn no huddle and let him call the plays. Jesus.
Yeah.
They said they were going to do it last year. They did it a tiny bit, and then they just ran away from it.
I told you, man, they have a lot of these good ideas. We were talking about defense, too, how they just want to rush, 4 at all times or whatever.
Right.
Everything sounds great before the season starts, but once you get in the game, man, and people start flying around and everything, you look up at the clock and there's already 10 minutes gone in the first quarter, you're like, oh, crap. I mean, you can't get around to all these things they want to do.
Believe it. Football is a crazy game. You can game plan the hell out of everything, and then one little play will cause everything to go wrong and cause you to get out of your game plan. Think about it. You have this great game plan. Some freak play happens on the opening drive, and the other team scores, so they're up 7-0. Then you come out and say there's like a crazy tip ball on your first drive. They take a pick 6 to the house. You're down 14-0. Everything you planned on doing is ruined. Because now you're chasing 14 points after like 5 total minutes out of the game, 8 total minutes. So anything can happen. Anything can change anything. One of these guys getting hurt could change everything. Let's just hope it doesn't happen to Pittsburgh this year. Let's hope some health for this offense. And let's hope they can figure out how to score in the red zone. Fans, questions, comments, hit us up on Twitter at bet_the_spread. Hit me up on Twitter at betjimthewin. Check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. Check out all our other episodes. Done them all, like I said at the beginning. Corners, safeties, wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, linebackers. You name it, we've basically done it. Just got to do that D-line.